When did you realize you weren't a child anymore? When I realized that, just because I have the money for a thing it doesn't mean I can afford it. Couple years ago, in our late 20s, my friends were telling me to buy some semi-expensive item. I can't even remember what, but they knew I could afford it. I hit them with, just because you can buy something, doesn't mean you should. They reacted like I was Confucius. 22nd birthday. Got home from work. No one was home. No cake or balloons waiting. No family waiting with a birthday dinner. I just walked to Papa Murphy's, got my favorite pizza, walked home, and ate alone. I grew up in a big family, 5 older siblings, aunts, and uncles always over. It was the first time I was just alone on my birthday. When an adult tried to make small talk about the weather with me, I realized I was an adult when I caught myself making small talk about the weather. When I could finally stay up as long as I wanted to, and all I wanted to do was go to sleep at 8 p.m. One day I woke up and I was married and had a mortgage. Not sure when all that happened. In the middle of the night, apparently. Pulled up to a Sheetz near the high school I went to in the middle of the afternoon, and there were a bunch of HS kids hanging out front, and my first thought was, why are all these kids just hanging out here? I was like 25 and felt like I was 65 when I thought that 25 and saw a bunch of HS kids outside the mall wandering around last night when I went grocery shopping. Literally had the same first thought as you. Until I remembered I used to do that same stuff. I'm already becoming an ornery old lady and I'm not even 30 lol. I think I'm just bored with my life and I haven't taken a vacation in way too long. When I was 21, I had to get my wisdom teeth out. Went to the surgeon, and he said it will cost $700 if you just get local numbing, and $1,800 if you want to be knocked out. I thought to myself, well, I have no insurance, so guess I'm gonna be awake for this one. Felt the doctor rip 3 teeth from my skull, went downstairs where I then paid another $100 for drugs. Went home, went to bed, woke up to discover I had drooled blood all over my pillow. And in the moment I realized I was the one that had to clean it up. The distinct thought in my head was, I'm a grown up. When I realized I could eat Nutella for dinner and no one would say a word. The best part about being an adult is you can eat an entire jar of Nutella and nobody can stop you. The worst part about being an adult is you can eat an entire jar of Nutella and nobody is there to stop you. I had graduated university, had a place of my own and a job, and was out doing some shopping. It occurred to me that I could, and probably should, just go ahead and buy some beer and some cookies, not for any kind of event or occasion, but just so I have them in stock at home. I wasn't planning to go home and drink 10 beers and eat a bag of cookies. I didn't even want either of them that day. I was just living a normal life and thought it would be good to have that stuff in stock. This is so true. Just keeping a few bottles of wine at home, even though you probably won't drink them point in the next few days, and don't crave to either, but just get them to avoid hassle. 27 and still not sure. 32 and still a kid. Now, kids, your uncle is building a fort for himself out of cushions. Maybe he'll let you in if you ask. I had a pulmonary embolism at 21. I sat in the waiting room for 12 hours because they didn't realize what it was at first. Then they began asking me for my social security number and all of this other information, and trying to convince me to pay for my service now so I could save 25% off my total bill. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here not being able to breathe and feeling woozy and in a lot of pain. I had just gotten out of school and was working part-time, and after this pulmonary embolism I wasn't able to work for a few months. A month of that was spent in the hospital. But that didn't stop them from coming after me. I did everything I could to pay off my bill. Eventually I did. So imagine my surprise when I had a police officer show up at my work and serve me. That's when I found out that hospitals have different departments that charge you separately. So while I paid off the radiology department, the physician's bill wasn't paid, and as such they sued me. I think that's when I fully realized that I was an adult and that the world was full of adults whose sole purpose in life was to pull money out of my wallet. When I was 13 I found an old box. I realized I hadn't played pretend in ages, so for the hell of it, I sat down in the box and tried to see if I still could. I realized that, while I was still an imaginative person, I could no longer see the scenarios and stories I used to play act in my head as a kid. When I pretended to be a princess, god damn it I could practically see the marble halls and unicorns around me. I couldn't anymore. Made me cry haha. The same thing happened to me around the same age. I sat in a cardboard box one day and realized I couldn't make myself believe I was in a spaceship anymore. That's how childhood ended for me. Sitting in a cardboard box. My son turned 11 years old recently. Sometimes, I hear him play pretend in his room, making whoosh noises, and building some kind of pillow fortifications on his bed. I never go and disturb him. I know time's running out for him as well. Dropped my keys in a grocery store and a little girl scurried over before I could pick them up. She looked proud as punch for saving me from picking something up that was way down there on the floor. I wanted to hug her and smack her at the same time. It's official, I'm old now. When a little girl walked past me and said to her mother, "I like that lady's scarf." L lady? Oof. I was working at Starbucks and a mother said to her little daughter, "Give the man the change." I'm not a man, I'm at best a dude. When being ill became an annoyance. As a kid, you get pampered by your parents and get to stay home from school. As an adult, the responsibilities you have don't magically go away anymore, so you're both miserable and stressed out. I remember it clearly. I had just moved into my first apartment 1,000 miles from my hometown alone. Got everything moved in and set up. Didn't have much then. A bed, a TV, a couch, that was pretty much it. I had a rough day at work, lots of complaining customers and let me to talk to your supervisor moments, and I was exhausted and emotionally drained. I opened the door to my apartment and there was silence. No noise from siblings, no parents sitting on the couch watching TV, no friends waiting to hang out. Just the oppressing silence of an empty apartment with nothing on the walls. The kind of silence that echoes when you sigh. I stood in my doorway and had the realization that I'm alone in a big city with no support system, friends, or family to help me if things don't work out. It was a lot to take in all at once. When I realized the adults in my life has no idea of what they were doing, they were just winging it. That hit me like a baseball bat when I realized that adults are not adult because they now know what they are doing. Rather because their parents' generation decided to not put up with their kids' crap anymore because they are 18 and good luck with that. My first interview out of uni, about 2 weeks after I handed in my final essay/piece 5-hour drive up past Manchester, had the interview that went well, got the job it turned out, in my 1986 Peugeot 205, wearing a suit that was just a bit too big for me as it was old, and I had lost weight. Just about to turn 21, so was 20. Stood in line at a service station paying for fuel, and it was the first time someone said "sir" to me. "Just the fuel today, sir?" "Yes thanks." As I walked away I remember clearly thinking, wow, I guess I am a sir now. First time I had to make my own dentist appointment. Sounds stupid, but I credit my mom for forcing me to do it on my own once I could drive myself there. I've heard way too many stories of people who just stopped making routine doctor's appointments after their parents stopped making them. I'm 15 and this comment section is scaring the crap out of me. Got socks and underwear for Christmas and was happy. Oh sweet, I needed some new pairs. Me, Mom, I need a few pairs of pants. Mom, you just got your first paycheck. Me, oh yeah, that's how living works. Getting ready for Christmas, age 22. Realizing that decorating is a ton of work, that I wouldn't be receiving as many gifts from family, and that I had to help my mom and grandma make dinner instead of hanging out with cousins as I used to. I sat down to play with my toys and they just didn't interest me anymore. Grew boobs. Eventually people started calling me ma'am, and the first few times it was very odd. I work in food service/retail, and when I get younger customers, usually kids ordering for their parents, I like to hit them with the sir/ma'am card and gauge their reaction. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, you can check another video.